This video is about preparing a paramotor for transportation on an aircraft, and it complies with the DGR. That's my model, and we're going to do soap, hydrogen peroxide, alcohol, and ozone, and we're also going to cap off and crate up in a rolling bag. So jump right in here. Need to get some fuel out of the machine, and the jiggle cap or jiggle hose doesn't fit down in there, so you can't use that. So what I ended up doing is using this tube. This is a smaller diameter tube without any kind of end on it, and to get the siphon started, I used this syringe that my wife used for her plants. I suppose I could rinse it out with soap and water and probably get it. But I was able to get the siphon started. So yeah, step one, remove the liquid fuel as much as you can get, and you can get out probably a good, most of it actually, with the pickup at the bottom if you push the pickup down into the bottom. Actually, I didn't get the pickup all the way at the bottom, and it stopped here at about 1 liter. So I'm going to have to pump that out using the priming bulb later. That will see. But anyway, I wanted to run the motor without the fuel connected so that I could purge any fuel that was in the carburetor that way. So first thing I'm going to do is clamp off the fuel line and then remove it from the carburetor and catch any spills. If it's clamped off, there's not going to be much of a spill. I'll put the dowel on there. And so that keeps the fuel from being a problem. And here I'm going to start it up and run the fuel out. Doesn't take long. So now that the fuel is purged from the carburetor, I want to tilt the whole unit to get fuel out of this. The way this tank is, it's got this ridge that goes over that, and that fuel will get trapped in there. So you got to tilt it down to get the fuel out of there. And then the pickup is on the other side, so I got it tilted a little bit, and I'm going to unclamp it and put the hose into the gas tank, and 252, and I just did that so I could get an idea about how long it takes to pump 1 liter. It takes about 4 minutes to pump 1 liter through the priming bulb, so it's a little bit on the slow side. So you really want to get the majority out if you can beforehand, 4 minutes. So I took the net and the hoop off, and I packaged that up in my carries for that. Now I'm going to take the prop off. Not rocket science here. I'm not going to go through all this in detail. But I figured I'd show you kind of the steps that I took in the order that I took them, just so if you want to make your own preparations, or if you list or something, or checklist. And then I took off the reduction set. This is an Atom 80, so if you got a Moster, it's going to be different. I don't know how those work. This is how I do mine. And the tools are improvised here because I'm going to use the tools that I carry with me in the air. So these are the only tools I carry. So it's a pretty small set. And I got a little storage box for my gear set. And I got a little plastic cover that I put. So we'll package that up and ship it a little separately from the motor. Not even in the weight for this is not, the gear set is not even in the rolling case that you So get that plastic piece on there, and then tilt it back and take a look at how much fuel. Not very much, actually, just a little bit in that corner if you can see it. So what I do is I put a wad of paper towel in a plastic bag and secure that onto the neck of the fuel tank, and then I turn the fuel tank, or turn the whole machine, so that all of the fuel ends up in the neck of the fuel tank and into that paper towel. Just absorbs into that paper towel. You saw how little fuel there was, so that paper towel can easily absorb that much fuel. So we get all the fuel out without dripping on anything. We're trying to make this smell nice so that nobody will have any problems with it when you check it. So next is soap, and I'm using OxyClean today. I don't always use OxyClean. You can just use soap. You could use soap and then hydrogen peroxide. And this, I'm trying to make sure, by the way, just showing you there, that there are no granules. I didn't want to pour granules into my tank. I wanted to make sure everything was into solution before I poured it into the fuel tank. So I pour this OxyClean mixture into the fuel tank and check it for granules here again. Make sure there's nothing, and I don't know, maybe I don't have to be that concerned about it because there's a rinse that happens afterwards. And then kind of orient the machine in different ways and shake it around. Not rocket science again, it's just coating all the interior surfaces of the fuel tank, upside down and everything. So here's the fuel line clamped off. There's still a little bit of fuel in the fuel line. Absorbing that before I start pumping it out. See, I'm going to pump out that OxyClean soap mixture through the priming bulb and clean that at the same time. So we're cleaning the lines and the priming bulb all at once, as well as the mixture, and that pumping didn't take too long, I suppose, a few minutes. Get all of the soap mixture out, and then just dump the rest of the soap out. It doesn't really, this is not, it doesn't matter if this drips on stuff, it's just soapy water. So not too much soap. All right, so the next step is the isopropyl alcohol, which again, unceremoniously, I do have a little collapsible funnel that I have. I just didn't have it out here with me. Otherwise, I would have used it. I'm going to bring that with me to the destination. Put the cap back on and repeat the orienting the machine in different ways. I kind of like it up here on the bench better. Orient the machine in all the different ways and coat all the interior surfaces of the fuel tank with the alcohol mixture. And once we get done with that, we'll pump that out too, and again clean the lines as well. And having the little bit of alcohol on the outside can help clean the exterior too. So anyway, let's pump the isopropyl alcohol. By the way, I dyed the isopropyl alcohol so you could see it. I just put 1 drop of green food coloring in it. So that's pumped out. And this, I didn't do this on the first day. I should have. This is a cut from the next day where I popped off the air filter, the air intake, and soaked it. Because you want to do all your soapy stuff on this. Should. Anyway, so here I am, real time again. Just brought it inside, turned it over, let alcohol drip out, and then I retrieved the filter, the fuel filter pickup on the inside, here I am with a little piece of copper wire, just retrieving the pickup, and so that can drip out. So that's it for the first day, and now we'll move on to the next day. So you leave it air out overnight, and now we're going to remove this bulb, priming bulb, and you squeeze together this little clamp and get a screwdriver under there and kind of pry that hose up off of the barb. Sorry for the shot here, my head was in the way, but I couldn't see it. So anyway, it's just a matter of prying that off and getting that free. And then I've got these silicone things that I found online at Amazon, various sizes of them, and they come in handy. You're going to see them multiple times, but pretty cheap on Amazon that I got. So I use these for various things. You'll see in the rest of the video. So I also put one of those on the other side where the priming bulb came in. Now we're going to remove the bolt that holds on the priming bulb. I don't suppose it would be a problem to leave this on. It's clean, but in Alex's video he took it off, so I figured I'd take it off. Not a big deal. Take a minute to get it off, put it back on. Just one nut, washer, and then a bolt on this side. And when you put this washer and nut back on so that I'll have it when I need it, we assemble it at our destination. And everything that comes off is going into a gallon Ziploc bag, which I'm going to put a dry machine in and ship with the machine. And here's the cap, fuel cap going into the bag too. So here's the, like I said, I did this today, but I really should have done it yesterday. Taking off the air intake. And this is kind of oily and kind of smelly. So you'll see in a moment, I guess you already saw that that this kind of oily thing, some grass clippings on there. But get it in the soap and wash the oil off. Shouldn't be a problem. Just use the soap. And there's some oil and stuff on this connection. So now we'll take the plug out, the spark plug out. And there's that donut thing fell down here. That just a piece of plastic surrounds the spark plug. You get the spark plug out. And I have some very nice tools that I could have used for this, but I'm purposefully using just the ones that I fly with. And there's the plug. And that goes in there. I'll show you later that I put one of those silicone things. And luckily I saved this little plastic piece that goes in the spark plug hole. Actually, I'm going to take that out so that I can crank the engine. So holding the throttle open with the rubber band, just to get some airflow through the two-stroke motor. And I don't know how many times I cranked this. I did it quite a few times. I figured just air it out, pull some air through there. Probably going to stay oily inside there. But we'll plug it up like that with this little plug. That came with the motor, by the way. I saved it when it was new. And then I'm going to take the fuel filter off. C-clamp on there. Now I've got a little small plastic bag to hold the these little parts. So I'm using the bigger plastic. Got a little twist tie in there for retrieving the line, which I didn't use this time. And again, another one of those. And here's another plug that I made from a dowel plus a nail, a little nail, and a screw, and that goes into the and fits in there pretty tight. So but I have the screw on there so I can retrieve it. I'm going to plug as many of these holes as I can, just to reduce the smell, and also just Windex the outside. Some people use WD-40 on the outside. That kind of has an oily smell. I just kind of hit all the many surfaces as I could with the Windex. Now that there's really any oily things should be gone by now. Any oily or fuely things should be gone by now. So I just kind of hit the high spots as much as I could to get off anything on the surface. Here's a couple of more. I did a nested silicone plug for these connections to the hoop. And I made this out of, I had some packing material that something else came in, and I used this, kind of improvised this to protect the hoop connections, and just use a zip tie to get that to make that stay. And then I also use the same kind of thing down here on this hoop connection. Got a zip tie that I don't show to keep that on. And then I'm going to take off the reserve, because if the reserve is on there, it doesn't fold up very well. So I take the reserve off, but I don't actually disconnect it. I just hang it. You'll see shortly. I use a couple of just some nylon string through the buckle, and I just knot it up, and then I hang it over the top, and you'll see shortly. Bungee cord on it from flopping around too much while I'm loading it. Once it's loaded, it's there. It's going to be just sitting there. Here's the second little string, and it just hangs there while it's upright. And for the seat board, I just pull it up like this and tuck the leg straps in. And then I use a bungee cord in an X shape, as you'll see shortly. I kind of loop it around the pulley, keep it from sliding up, put it down, and then up, and connect it up to the swing arm on the opposite side. And I do the same thing on the other side to keep the seat board. Again, this is just sort of because otherwise it would flop around while I'm trying to load it into the rolling bag. So just keep it in generally in the right position. And here's that bungee cord across the reserve, which is hanging top. Now, this is something I custom made for mine. It's not going to work on a Moster. You're going to have to figure out some other things. But this is 1/4-inch plywood that I've rigged up to protect the muffler from getting just smacked, because they throw these things around on the airplane pretty good. So I wanted to protect the muffler's integrity as much as I could. So this goes, and it goes against the frame, and it goes against the motor. And so, and it's got a little wire there that I'm using to connect it to the, kind of loosely connect it to the muffler. And so you'll see in a minute how this kind of hangs. It kind of just hangs there while it's not being hit from any force is not being applied. I got a couple of straps on here that I've improvised. And so now if it gets a hit from this side, it protects it. And if it gets hit down here, it protects it. And if it gets hit from the side. So it's kind of trying to protect the muffler. And you can see that in a former trip, they cracked that piece of plywood and they dinged it there. And here's another another connector with another silicone. And then again, the recommendation from Sky School is dryer sheet in your plastic bag. And now I'm getting the prop. It's a two-piece prop, and it goes in the bottom of the 190-liter bag pretty nicely on either side of the track for the handle. So then you can lift up, and my motor goes in there this way without cutting the bag. It goes in upside down with the motor up. Just found it this is the easiest way to get it into the bag. And this is how the hoop parts go in. I was going to show you that before I did this, which is in my bag. Holds all the hoop parts. And they just kind of nest in there. And then the net and hoop in the bag. So that, nice to have a bag because otherwise they get all tangled up with the net. And then you shove the motor in, and the bag has to deform quite a bit to get the motor in there because the width of the hoop connections is almost too wide for the case, but it does fit. And you can look this up. I don't have a screenshot of when I purchased this, but it's a Service 190-liter rolling motorcycle motocross bag. You can look at it. So all zipped up. Everything's in there except for the you'll see in a moment. I put the gallon Ziploc in there. It's heavy. We will weigh it now. I threw in the gallon Ziploc. Anything that had possibly could smell, I figured I'd keep it in this. Things that couldn't smell, didn't smell, or wouldn't have any smell, I could put in another suitcase. But I wanted sort of all the motor stuff here, and then my wing stuff somewhere else. So it comes out to like 68.7 pounds. So it's under 70 pounds. I think that's 32 kilograms or something, but check for yourself. So the final step is this ozone generator, which I bought off Amazon, pretty cheap, $30, and it worked amazing. I did this without the generator units, and I had it airing out for a week, and it still kind of smelled, so that I needed to have masking dryer sheets, a lot of them. But I turned it on and closed it up and let it run for 30 minutes. And that was probably too long, maybe. But it had an ozone smell that lasted pretty strong. But after the ozone smell dissipated, you really couldn't smell any fuel at all. So anyway, that's my packing of the Paramotor. Hopefully you got some use out of it. I know it was kind of long and you had to listen to me drone on, or maybe you muted me. But anyway, that was the whole thing. So hopefully that was helpful for you. Good luck in transporting your Paramotor, and hopefully you'll have a wonderful flying experience.